Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This video today is about workers at Boeing Supplier raised quality issues. Company didn't listen. Underwriter ANSI-ANAB is a problem. The reason why I say the American National Standards Institute and the American National Crediting Board are a problem is that they're certifying all of this mess. You have ANSI, which is the American National Standards Institute, been around for 100 plus years. They have both federal agencies and corporations on board. You had problems at Boeing as well of people trying to bring up information to the management, and the management didn't want to hear that. Budgetary constraints. In fact, you had Caroline Kennedy and also Nikki Haley on the board. What the hell did they know about aerospace? Maybe when they were drinking their martini, the mind goes a little bit foggy. Maybe they were in aerospace. Who the hell knows? But Boeing is a tragedy. And how do we know, ladies and gentlemen? Think about this. Between the years of 2015 and 21, ANAB and ANSI were controlled and manipulated by communist China because the International Accreditation Forum, which is a repository for accreditation bodies, was handed over to a communist Chinese national, a Zhao Jinwu. I don't make this up. I've been telling you time and time and time again about this mess. And yes, Zhao Jinwu. He has been involved with our quality since 1994. And if you don't believe me, here's the picture from 2015. I'm not going to elaborate on this mess. All I'll tell you that he's been involved with our quality since 1994. And at the time when this guy, Randy Doherty, handed over leadership to this guy, he was also the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services located in Beijing, China. And this is where I bring it up. Possibly Boeing may be infiltrated and they putting little gremlins inside their operation to fail. I'm talking about China. Because he is mandated to take our data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. So how do we really know that? I understand on Boeing's, on Boeing's property, they have a building that is all Chinese, all working on aerospace. And as our wonderful leader said in a chat, in an interview, that China will eat our lunch. Within the next 10 years, if Boeing doesn't straighten up, the Chinese will ultimately destroy us. In the aerospace industry, they already are starting to really gear up. But how do we know this? We don't. We really do not know what is going on. When you have a company like Boeing basically handing off their inspection, self-inspecting, you have an issue. In 2002, Boeing came out with this bulletin, concerning if you're AS9100 certified, that's an ISO standard for aerospace, just send us your certificate, send us your parts, you don't have to do source inspection. And by the way, at that time, Patrick Shanahan was doing cost-cutting initiatives for every program that Boeing made. He started in '86. This memo, bulletin, was in 2002. To make matters worse, really, in 2009, the FAA came into Boeing and said, we're going to certify some of your employees as if the FAA was in here with their eyes. That, to me, is worse than the fox watching the hen house. That, to me, causes issues like with Malaysian Air, with the Ethiopian Air, and other incidents that have happened in the context of Boeing. I have tried to get involved with them because they need impartial eyes, truly impartial. Patrick Shanahan is not impartial. He was a Boeing employee. David Calhoun, he was basically one of the signers of Dennis Muhlenberg's raises. They had, at the time, 6 people out of the 11 that could sign off raises for the CEO of Boeing. It's a very incestuous relationship, and you will find out that most of all the CEOs at Boeing sit on Caterpillar Heavy Moving Equipment's board. You're probably saying, Daryl, what's that? Well, I'll tell you what that is. ANSI has a Dan Rowley at the time sitting from Caterpillar, a quality guy, making $770,000 tax-free plus his salary from Caterpillar. So there must be some incentive for Boeing CEOs, many of them. Look at Dennis Muhlenberg. He was sitting on Caterpillar. This guy's sitting on Caterpillar. And the Caterpillar guy sitting on ANSI is getting $770,000. Something doesn't smell right. So either we're going to back this up and get things straightened up, and I can do it without a doubt. I did it at that aerospace company I was at. I straightened them up. And as you heard, a director of quality said to the manager of human resources, if I had 100 more Daryl Gubermans on board, I'd be that much more happier. As the helicopter left the hangar, there'd be less rejections. And I'm proud of that. But when you have Boeing fudging documentation, when you have them skipping processes, when you have them not writing down proper times and temperatures on the autoclaves from 2007 and to 2018, and you have the ISO order coming in looking, and that's the first thing they hit you upon is calibration. Looks like nobody was looking at the cure charts. I've been involved with ISO when I worked in different facilities that had autoclaves, and the first thing they look at is cure cycles. Can I have the book that you cured this part to? The inconsistencies of ISO certification are pervasive throughout the industry. And you have failure, and failure, and failure, and failure, and I'm going to leave it here. If you want more data, it's down in the description. As I told you, my telephone number is 203-556-1493, or Daryl, D-A-R-O-L, TQRS at yahoo.com. In fact, let me just show you this. Patrick Shanahan, who was promoted to CEO of Spirit Aerosystems, who is Intertech certified or Intertech registrar. They're ANAB accredited. 7 of those registrars, Intertech included, sit on ANSI-ANAB. There is no oversight. That is one of the major issues, okay? The real major issue is that ANSI and ANAB, the American National Standards Institute and the American National Crediting Board, are underwriters for the International Accreditation Forum, which is a repository of both national and international accreditation bodies. And also, ILAC, the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation. I was asked in 2016 to join either ANAB or IAF or both. But I must confess, ladies and gentlemen, how in good conscience could I do this when China had their hand in the cookie jar in 2015? I could not, in all good conscience, do it. And in fact, when they talk about internationally equivalent as Boeing does on their supplier portal, and you find out that the internationally equivalent could be Iran or Pakistan. I showed you this before. It could be Iran or Pakistan because they are the internationally equivalent, one of many. And they say death to the United States. They harbored Osama bin Laden, Pakistan did. They, in essence, could come into Boeing because they state internationally equivalent. They truly are. And you people are probably saying, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, in a different world, they'd be able to come in here, theoretically, because they are equivalent to ANSI-ANAB, and ANSI-ANAB are underwriters for both IAF and ILAC. So I'm going to use the words of Russ Cheney when he called me up after I exposed a laboratory impropriety. Half a nut, fuck you. Is that what is ANSI's mantra? It must be. Because Patrick Shanahan said about the F-35 program, the program is fucked up. Not the aircraft, but we discover after 801 aircraft, the aircraft's fucked up too. I thank you.